So I had a nearly heart-stopping moment last night. Yesterday afternoon. This is a kind of a boring story, but let me lay it out for you. I was doing stuff on the interwebs, and I was wanting to watch a video review of a video game. I just like watching those and getting a recap. I love watching really bad video game reviews. They're really fun to watch. Way more fun than better rated. Unless it's like a 10, which is rare. And I'm talking about IGN. That's about the only site that I go to look at video games anymore. Because they have a lot of other stuff going on there too. Movie information and stuff. Anywho, last night, well, it was yesterday afternoon. It was about 3:45. I was trying to watch videos, and I noticed they were loading really slow. And sometimes if I reboot the computer, it'll just fix it, and you're fine, good to go. So I did that, went back on. Still didn't work, so I went to Speakeasy and tested it out to see if it was IGN or if it was me or what. And I'm getting like 6 megabytes download, and I'm like, and like 2 or 3 up. So I'm like, this is crazy. So I power cycled the modem. Well, did that. The modem was working fine. It was still, it's a wireless built-in. It's a wireless router, modem, blah, 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 combo. Anywho, wireless was working fine, but my direct connection to my computer, it would not connect to my network. So, well, it would connect to my network, but not the internet. So I ended up calling Comcast, and they sent a signal and so on and so forth. Then they realized that they had the wrong modem for me on file with them, so they switched it over. They're like, you should notice a crazy amount of difference in speed now. But I mean, I usually get like 38 down. I pay for 50, and they're actually going to double that for free pretty soon to 105, I believe it is. And I uploaded about anywhere from 5 to 9 megabytes a second. So I'm like, oh man, this is unbelievable. Now this isn't working. So we finally he sends it through. He's like, all right, it should be good now. Turn your computer back on. So I noticed when it shut down, it installed 12 Microsoft updates. And so I didn't think anything of it. I feel bad because the guy had to wait an extra like 5 minutes or something like that. And it was his last call and he could go home. He said that. So he was a nice guy, very nice guy. And so I turn my computer on after this all finishes. And I built my own computer. I always build my own computers. And the motherboard I have in this is a Asus Maximus 5 Formula. It's a really good board. Great board. A lot of room to breathe. I like a bigger motherboard. A lot of people like the compact ones. Not I, said the fly. I'm not saying bigger is better with computers, but like if you're running games and stuff that can overheat, not if you've got your computer set up, then you should be fine. But I like a nice big open case with lots of fans and air to move through, and that's why I was really excited to get the water cooling for the CPU, because it cut down, like normally those fans and heat sinks are huge and they take up the whole case, like, so airflow through there is kind of tough. Well, with this it's just flat, so there's nothing on top of the CPU. It's just a flat surface. So I turn it on and I get to the Republic of Gamers screen, which is the Asus pre-BIOS screen, and it sits there. And sometimes it sits there for like 20 seconds at most. It's rare that it takes that long. Usually I'm in Windows in under a minute, which is I'm really excited about, because for years I had to deal with crappy computers and like waiting, start the computer, leave the room, go do a few things, come back, and it's on. So it's nice that this one actually works really well. Well, I'm sitting on that screen. About a minute goes by, and I'm thinking, well, that's not good. So I hit reset. I figured, well, maybe just something crazy happened. And it just did it again. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Now, we were heading over to a friend's house. We were supposed to be there at 4:30. We didn't leave until about 4:35 because I was losing my mind. Because the first thing I thought of is, oh my God, how am I going to do the videos now? I mean, I could always use my laptop, but that camera's horrible. And if I hook this one up to that, it's not going to be much better probably, because it's a slower system. This is a beast. Well, it's a baby beast now because times are changing. But do it again. Nothing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So there's nothing I can do at this point. I go down, I grab another keyboard, and I hook it up, just thinking, well, maybe F8 on this keyboard, because this keyboard wasn't loading for some reason. It wasn't getting to the point where it loads the USB information. So I still, even with another keyboard, I couldn't get into BIOS or anything like that. So I had to leave my computer like that. So I left it on the screen, hoping that maybe it would finally kick through and just something was like a hiccup in the system. Nope. I got home like 5 hours later and still sitting on that screen. I'm like, oh. Well, on the way over to our friend's house, I started looking it up, thinking, okay, somebody else has got to have had this problem before. I didn't realize that there was an error code on the board either, which didn't help me, by the way. And two things that popped out at me right away about these symptoms that I was having was that a lot of people are having the same system, and what symptoms. And so what they would do is they would unplug their... One guy had luck unplugging his keyboard and mouse and switching them. Another guy had found it easier if he got rid of his external hard drive. I have 3 right now. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just unplug every USB from the computer. It's not that hard to figure out where they go afterwards, and we'll go from there. So we do that, and nothing happens again. I'm like, no, because that means the only other idea I have involves me opening up the system, and I don't like doing that. And at this point, I'm pretty sure it's a software problem and not a hardware problem. But one other suggestion was to change your main hard drive's SATA port. Now, I've got 2 6 megabytes a second ports, and 2 3 and 2 normal, and then 4 normal, I think it is. Ton of them. I can add an ass load of hard drives on this computer. It'd be so easy too. There's so much room in here. And the solid state drives, I could easily probably get like 16 maybe of those in here. Yeah, it's that big. It's pretty big. It's a good case. I like it. I'd have to look online. I don't know what the actual statistic is. So I swap my C drive, my solid state drive, with another one. Try it again. Still nothing. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to unplug every SATA drive I have hooked up. Unplugged all of them. Restarted it. Nothing. I cannot get past that screen, which means I can't get to a point where I can use the keyboard. I can't do anything with a CD, like telling it to boot from a CD. There's nothing. I can't do anything. I'm like at a point where I'm like, I'm going to have to take this to somebody. I don't know what else to do. Then I remembered something, and this is one of the reasons why I bought this motherboard, and I'm very glad I did. There's a port on the back, a USB port marked the Republic of Gamers connection or something like that. I can't remember what it is. But you can download to USB flash drive the latest BIOS, plug it in, there's a little button there that lights up. You hold it in until it starts flashing, and then you let it go. It installs the new BIOS, and then when it stops flashing, you can take it out and turn it back on. So that's what I did, and it started flashing fine. First thing I noticed, I had to rename it, and I was just like, maybe I didn't rename it right, because I pressed the button and nothing happened. So I took it back to the other computer, and I capitalized it's a CAD file, if I'm not mistaken. RADCAD file. I can't remember what it is. So you have to capitalize. So I capitalized it. I did it again. Nothing happens. So I go back and I read the instructions one more time. I had to look up the manual because I can't find my manual. And so it says you're supposed to hold it in until you see it start flashing. Okay, so I'm like, okay, this is it. If this doesn't work, it's the last thing I can really think to do. I can start pulling the video cards and RAM, which I really don't want to do. Because it's just a pain in the ass. Thankfully, everything is really easily accessible on this computer. If I ever have to change anything out, there's 2 screws in the back, 2 thumb screws, pop the side off, either side, he comes off very easily, goes back on, super easy. Sometimes you're like, if anybody's ever built a computer or taken the side off their computer, you have to line up those little teeth, there's usually 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pop them in and slide it over, and then tighten it and close it in the back, which that's a nightmare. So, this one is very, very easy to do. Oh yeah, and in the meantime, I had seen that error code 98, which is a hard drive error. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I do it, I boot it up, and finally a new BIOS screen starts immediately. I'm like, oh my god. It was like the weight of the world came off my shoulders. Then it went to a black screen. I'm like, come on, come on. And finally, after about, like, it wasn't even 10 seconds, but I'm so nervous at this point. A little loading BIOS thing comes up, and it takes about 30 seconds to load. Jesus, something's lighting up. And it boots again, and it goes through the screen. I'm like, oh my god, please don't go in cycles. I'm like, should I have left the flash drive in, or should I have taken it out? I don't know. I'm like, what if I just screwed it up? Finally, boom, the minute the BIOS loads, like, which is like, I mean, this time from power to Windows was like 10 seconds. It was unbelievable how fast it was. This motherboard has so many cool utilities and so much cool shit built into it. Like Asus, I'm sorry, it's not Asus, it's Asus. I always say Asus. I wish it was Asus because it makes more sense. Asus sounds silly. Sounds stupid name. But hey, it's working now. Knock on wood. And so that brings me to my subject tonight, is computer problems. I know a decent amount about computers, especially hardware. Like, I can network pretty well. I can, fix a lot of, like, speed issues on a computer. I can upgrade things, both software and hardware. I feel pretty confident in my tech skills when I'm building a desktop computer. Now, things are changing drastically, and it's going to make me a dinosaur probably within the next 20 years, like maybe 10, the way technology moves. But everything's turning into tablets and handheld devices and mobile devices and working off 4G networks, and like everything is changing about what I know. And so a lot of people are going to start coming up to me because they know I know computer stuff and be like, hey, how do I redo this on my tablet? And I'm like, okay, where's the CD-ROM drive? Where's the I mean, a lot of them have USB drives. I don't think the iPads do. What's wrong with them? Come on, put a frickin' USB port on there. Are you kidding me? Like, why would you release a tablet without a USB port? Even a micro, a mini one of the teeny ones. Just do it, jerks. It's an Apple. They're always there. Their little clicks are different than ours, and their alts are different and whatever. Just don't like them. I feel more confident in the PC setup. I do need to get used to a Mac because as I've looked for like graphic artist jobs through the years, a lot of time a requirement is knowing that Mac or operating system, and that's a heartbreaker because like I'm sure I could learn it really quickly, but like I don't want to lie on an application and be like, hey, I know that, and then get there and be like, uh-oh, this is messed up. This isn't working right. Especially with Photoshop, because I know Photoshop in a PC environment. I probably could figure it out in a Mac environment, but I don't really need to because I don't have a Mac. Because they're goddamn expensive too. And like nowadays, those things are tough to upgrade. I imagine like that's got to be more difficult than a PC if you can even upgrade. I know for a long time, like with those built-in colored ones, the stupid ones, like those, like you couldn't upgrade. You couldn't take out RAM or add a hard drive or throw a better video card in there. Now, I don't know. They look even worse now. They look like they're just like thin screens and everything's built into it. These times they are changing. I tell you, touchscreen monitors are more and more common for the people who still prefer a desktop. Like, I would love to have a touchscreen monitor to just be like, yea, verily I say unto thee. Yeah, gonna be one of them there days. This is a long day today. It's a good day though. Had practice this morning. Good practice. All kinds of good stuff today. Got a few things we needed for around the house. Took the boys out. Grayson got roller skates. Not rollerblades. He got actual roller skates today. And so he's doing pretty well with them. I never learned to roller skate. I mean, I could probably get up on them and get from one side of the room to the other if I had to, but anywho, just was never my cup of tea. So, computer problems. When I lived back home, I knew about 4 people that hung out pretty frequently, so that if I had problems, like with all our brain power working together to fix the issue, usually by the end of the night we resolved everything. One of us figured something out, and that was it. It was just really fun. My friend Mike, Brad, Brian, Gary, me, you know, like we all had a knowledge, a good working knowledge, and I knew a lot of other people too that I could have probably called to come over. But when I moved here, I do know a few people, but like I only see them like once a week, once a month sometimes, and like I feel awkward being like, "Hey, you want to come fix my computer or help me?" So when they arise, which that's the first one I've had since I built this computer. This computer has given me no problems. It's quiet, it runs cool, it's fast, it's a good computer. Although the red lights I would have preferred they were, well, I guess with the black it looks good, but anywho. When they arise, they're like the worst things in the world to me. Like I could lose an arm. Somebody in my family could get sick. You know what I mean? Those are the worst things. But when it comes to day-to-day stuff you have to deal with, when that gets added to my day, it becomes the focus. Like I am OCD about that. Like it's got to be fixed because, like, we have all our photos and a shit ton of movies that we've backed up from Blu-ray onto the computer, and I stream everything from my computer to my PS3 or eventually, hopefully, the PS4. And so when the computer goes down, I can't write, I can't do anything in Photoshop, I can't do the videos, I can't communicate with my friends and everything because none of us really call each other anymore. Occasionally text, but I stay in touch with most people through Facebook or Gmail or whatever. So now I've got my phone, but it's just not the same. I can't do half of the stuff. I can't do a third of the stuff I need to do. I couldn't do Photoshop work on there. That would be a nightmare. Like, literally, that would be like hell to me. Having to do Photoshop on my phone. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, if I had a mouse and a keyboard I could hook up to it, I might be able to pull it off if I could just use that as a screen. But otherwise, having to do everything by hand, yikes. I'm known as the Grim Reaper on Facebook. A lot of you may not know this. I am always on top of celebrity deaths. I don't know why. It just so happens I'll be coming to sit down. I'll go online just to put online up to see if anything crazy is happening in the world. And it never fails that I'm usually the very first person out of all the friends I have on Facebook to post their death and be like, R.I.P. Like tonight, Alice from the Brady Bunch died. That's very sad. I was never a huge fan of that show. However, I know what she means as an American icon, and so to lose someone like that's gonna be rough. Like I've always said, Bill Cosby's that person for me. Like, if the day comes that yeah, I can't remember what I was just about to say. I got confused. The celebrity's deaths. I don't know. I'm just on top of it. Don't you hate when that happens? I wish I could explain that. Just flubs in the brain. I hate them. Hate them, hate them, hate them, hate them. Really good practice today. Did I mention that? Like, I felt like we don't normally jam. I am not a jam band person. Like, I know a few, like leads, blues leads and stuff that I kind of resort to and I kind of cut between them and, you know. But I don't know where every note placement is. I know I can base it on chords and whatever and whatnot, but it is a nightmare for me to... If I can write a solo, I love writing solos because I can really put my heart and soul into it and just kind of sit down and write something pretty to it. But if I have to do it on the fly, I'm just not good at it. Well, today we jammed out 2 or 3 of our songs that we don't normally jam out to. And they were incredible. They sounded so good. One of them is just a real kind of like 70s where I use my wah and distortion, and it's one of those songs where I can pretty much do anything throughout the song as long as I come back on certain parts. But other than that, I can go off and do little notes here and there and stuff. And thankfully, it's one of those songs where it fits into a key that I really know well, and I can play around it well and stuff. So I'm just not good at transposing and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm hoping I can get some of our songs up here soon. I really want to record this year. I don't know how because I'm poor as shit, but I'd really like to take the band and do like a 7-song demo just to have, even just for myself, and it never does anything for us. But I mean, like, we'd like to book in Charlottesville, and that'd be a lot easier with a CD. or at least a digital recording of it. It doesn't even have to be produced as a CD or something. I can just put it online. But and I mean, out of all the bands, I've been very fortunate. Every band I've ever played in, like they have, and I've said this before, the band is all more talented than me, I feel. Like, and I don't think I'm untalented. Like, I feel like I'm a good songwriter. I may not be the best guitarist, but... And I sing rather well. I can stay in key if to just do harmonies or whatever. But the guys have been really cool in this band. Like, my Vic, who sings for the band, like, he has no problem with, like, if I want to sing a song, I can just be like, hey, can I sing this song? And he's like, yep. And that's what's cool about this band. There's no, like... ego whatsoever. Everybody just enjoys playing together. And the songs we're writing, it's like, I never thought I'd get serious about music. Like, and I'm probably still not going to get serious about music, because those guys have, legit jobs. They work at, they're all professors or work at colleges and stuff. And so, good for them. But, like, when I listen to our music, the stuff that we've written, Matt, our bass player, who's from Massachusetts, Matt Asher, he's another great songwriter. Like, he's like the bass equivalent, well, I guess guitar too, of Gary Rigo up north. Like, he plays good, and he plays with emotion. He's not the most tightest or the talented, like, in the whole world. He's very good, but he can write music really well. And the two of us, I think, just play off each other really, really good. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to hear these songs, especially these newer ones, or at least newer versions of, like, because I think I've got a few of them online, but the newer stuff is just so much better. A lot of it is stuff that I wrote in Greyshine or Lunch Meat Circus, but if I played a part in writing it, a major part in writing the song, then I feel like it's okay to take that song along with you. Because just because you've moved on to play with new people doesn't mean the songs are any worse or better. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun to perform them with other bands because you hear this new style comes in and these new variations and new arrangements and stuff, and I think that's cool. I mean, a lot of people are just like, yeah, move on, write some new stuff, and, like, we've written, I mean, we probably play 7 or 8 of my songs, 7 or 8 of Matt's songs, 2 or 3 of Vic's, and but beyond that, collectively we've probably written 7 or 8 songs together. So I mean, we've just got so much, I think, really good original stuff that, like, that's the great thing about having years of music under your belt, like, especially if it's your music. Like, it's so easy to take these songs that you've aged for like 20 years that you think were good then are way better now, and, like, put out an album. Like, I'm not into the whole let's get signed thing anymore, because I just don't think that's good for the music industry and how it works and stuff. But, like, getting paid to make money, to make music is a great thing, I would imagine. And to know that you're sitting on, like, an archive of easily between the 3 people in the band that actually write songs, I mean, like 60, 80 pretty good songs. Maybe, whittle that down, maybe 50 of them are really good. But I think they're good, like, and I'm not saying that from being within the band, like, being a part of the band. Like, I can sit, and Matt will pick up a guitar, and he'll play something, and I'll be like, oh my god, that's a great part. And like, it's just awesome. It's great. It's cool. So, if you play music, it's fun to play music with new people. Although I prefer, I mean, I still miss sometimes playing with people I've played with in the past. Like I love, our drummer Foz. He's really good. He's a really good drummer, very talented guy, extremely, probably, the most talented guy in the band. But I still miss playing with other drummers like Mario. I mean, I played with him for over 10 years, so that's a tough one to, and it's funny, it's like Silver and Gold, the song Silver and Gold. You make new friends but keep the old, some are silver, the other gold. So, I've developed some great friendships since I've moved here to Lynchburg. But But it's you always have the silver and gold, that the new and the old. It's just funny how that works. Life is a funny thing because I always thought like every friendship you made was forever. I really did. Like every friendship I ever made, I treated like that. Like I was going to be friends, or to the best of my ability, I was going to be friends with them forever. I guess I was just a gullible lad. Like, it's so funny how just, Facebook keeps me in touch with people, but if there was no Facebook, 90% of the people that I thought would be lifelong friends, like, I probably wouldn't even talk to, or I wouldn't have talked to ever again. And that's sad to me. That's really sad to me. I'm just an emotional guy when it comes to stuff like that. And, like, to think that, like, some people that I spent days, weeks, months, years with, like, that friendships can end so easily. Like, I don't know. Am I wrong? Maybe it's just the way I was raised. Anywho, we're going on 25 minutes now. So, I just want to tell you that's why there was no video last night. That was terrifying. Thank you guys for sticking by me, though. If you're loving these, please subscribe, and if you know anybody who might be interested in them, please pass them along through your Facebook or my MySpace or whatever you want to do. If not, that's cool too. As always, please always remember, try to find ways to make people smile tomorrow. Like, you see somebody down and out, make them smile. Making smile makes the world a better place, and we need to make this world spin a little happier together, you and I. So, have a great night. Thanks for always coming back. I'll try to do another one tonight just to make up for last night. And if so, I'll see you in the next one. If not, then I'll see you a little further on down the road to 40. Click. I always have to go down here and then look up here, look over here, look back.